So I want to respond to this comment about ideas specifically if children have ADHD and they're highly distracted in the classroom. Keeping in mind that every student with ADHD is different, so these may or may not work for your child, and a really great thing to do would be to speak with your child prior to the meeting, or the school speak with your child prior to the meeting to see if these might work. My name's Valerie. I'm a former special education teacher and administrator, and I'm an advocate helping and educating families just like yours. Today, I'm going to focus on the structure of the classroom. The next video will be focusing on instructional techniques for students with ADHD or any kind of executive functioning challenges. These might help as well. We're going to talk first about a classroom that is visually cluttered. And this is a really good example. This classroom looks amazing. I never made classrooms that look like this for a lot of reasons. But if I was in that classroom, I know I would be looking all around. There's things hanging from the wall. There's a light up tree behind me. Is it gonna light up? I think it's a light up tree. There are things hanging from it. What do they say? Where do I look on the board when I'm supposed to look at the board? There's a lot happening in here. And if a student is very distracted, they're gonna be trying to see all the things. It doesn't matter how long they've been in there, they're gonna be looking around. So you can ask, what is the visual stimulation in the classroom? Another thing to talk about would be, are there flexible seating options in the classroom? This classroom has a lot of flexible seating options. They've got Adirondack chairs. They've got students sitting on small pads on the ground. They've got these really tall desks that currently students are sitting at, but I bet they could move those chairs and be standing desks. These bands that go around the bottom of chairs can be really helpful for students who are fidgety. It should be a part of their IEP if they have an accommodation like that, so definitely something to talk about. And then depending on the needs of your child, these little fidget things are great as long as your child's not going to throw it. So we need to make sure it's a child who will hold on to it, but they can move these little things up and down and those can't be broken away. So another good solution for students who maybe just need something to fidget with in their hand. Would your child benefit from taking a test in a quiet, smaller environment? If they would, be specific about what test. Any test, just the state test, benchmark test, which tests? And then how can the teacher give nonverbal cues to redirect your child? So instead of saying, James, I've asked you 5 times to stop talking, maybe the teacher can just walk by James's desk and stand by James. Or not the whole class, just for a minute to help him redirect. Or tap the desk. Those are things that can help as well. So that would be a nonverbal cue to help your child redirect to the task at hand. And that would be what you would write on the IEP. And then finally, I'd make sure that there's some kind of discussion about how your child is receiving positive feedback when they are exhibiting expected behaviors. That's a really important piece of all of this because we want students to feel good about what they're doing when they're doing things right. If your school does PBIS, Positive Behavior Intervention Support, they're probably already doing this. I hope this was helpful to be able to start a discussion with your school team and maybe your child depending on their needs. And if you need more specific help, you can reach out to me at pinchpointconsulting.com. So this part's going to focus more on how your child is learning in the classroom. And I'm Valerie. I'm a former special education teacher and administrator, and now I'm an advocate helping and educating families just like yours. So the first thing is chunking large assignments for your child. So if a teacher gives an assignment that's going to take 2 weeks, we're not just handing that to the student. We also are handing to the student how to chunk that out, what they should be finishing every single day, or at least every few days with a check-in by the teacher, whether it's a checkbox or they're receiving partial grade or something. So your child knows they need to get that done. And that actually ends up helping a lot of students, not just your child or children with identified ADHD. Does your child need breaks? This is really important if your child is in gen ed's general education setting for part of the day, and maybe the teacher has a rule of how many times a student can go to the bathroom. Let's make sure your child can get up and move if they need to. Teachers should be giving visual and oral instructions for students. So rather than just standing at the front and giving instructions for 30 seconds with maybe 5 steps, they need to also make sure it's either written down or on a paper or electronically given to your child as well, so that your child has 2 different ways to access that information. And then I want to talk about the importance of timers. So there's a couple different ways, right? We can have these types of timers in the classroom. We can come into the 21st century and do more of this type of timer in the classroom, but something where it's a visual cue for your child so that they don't lose track of time and so they can cue back in. Another idea I used to do with students who had working memory challenges, which can be a part of ADHD and several other qualifying conditions for students, is to use Post-it notes as they read. Now, granted, I haven't taught for a few years. It might be electronic, so maybe they're doing electronic Post-it notes or comments, but some way to pause and jot a little bit of information down for themselves so they don't get to the end and forget what they've read. That can also help students who have reading comprehension challenges so that they are checking in as they go. And then when appropriate, utilizing partner or group work in the classroom for your child, that can help them kind of see other students with modeling behavior and also help work on some social skills as well. I hope that helped. If you need more specific ideas for your child, maybe your child's ADHD presents a little bit differently or their needs are a little different and you'd like some help, you can reach out to me at pinchpointconsulting.com. I'd love to help support you and your family.